Welcome to Wanderlust and Wishes, the podcast where we explore the world one destination at a time.
I'm Julie.
And I'm Krystle.
As travel agents with Fantastical Vacations, we are here to share our passion for travel and help you turn your wanderlust into reality.
From hidden gems to bucket list adventures, join us as we dive into the sights, sounds, and stories of our favorite destinations.
So grab your passport, pack your bags, and let's embark on this journey together. Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 92 of Wanderlust and Wishes. Today, we are going to talk about Krystle's Disney cruise on the Fantasy. I'm so excited to talk about this, and I've been completely obsessed with stalking her on her Instagram, like just looking for any little glimpse of anything while she's been gone. And we also haven't really chatted for like the whole week. So this is going to be me hearing this for the first time. And so just excuse me if I get a little overly excited or go off on a tangent on something. We do have a couple of things first. I do want to mention that today is actually our 100th episode published. Yay! Even though this is episode 92, we have bonus episodes and we've had a couple of two-part episodes and we've had some on the goes. And so with those included, we actually are publishing, this is technically our 100th episode. So that's really exciting. It's a great accomplishment for us, a great achievement. I can't believe we made it to 100 episodes.
We did it. We triple digits.
And then we also have a new review, and we haven't recorded for 2 weeks since Krystle's been on her cruise. So this one came in like literally right after we recorded our episodes like 2 weeks ago. So we're excited to read this.
All right. This is from Haley F1333. And it's titled So Comforting. I'm also a travel advisor, but I love listening to Julie and Krystle talk about Disney. This is my comfort podcast. I could listen all day. Oh, thank you.
That is just the sweetest thing ever, that we're a comfort podcast for you, because definitely like we have podcasts that we listen to, and that's something that we would want to strive for, is for someone to have our podcast as something they listen to, as like that they look forward to every week. Thank you so much. That means so much to us, especially coming from another travel advisor. Okay, let's jump into the topic. I think first, let's do a little bit of background on what cruise it was, itinerary, ship, theming, all of that kind of stuff first, and then we'll start getting into questions.
All right. So this was a 5-night on the Disney Fantasy. And it was also a Pixar day at sea, which was a whole other added element. We booked this as a surprise trip for Calder's 10th birthday. We had told them all we were going to do some sort of trip for when they turn 10, just a little one-on-one with mom and dad. And he gave us a couple of ideas, but then he also said he wanted to be surprised. Because of that, we booked it super late. And we did a guaranteed room with restrictions. So it was a pay in full. We didn't know where we were going to be until we got our room pretty quickly because we booked so late. But we missed booking windows. We got the end of the port arrival times, all that.
And just as an FYI, we also are going to post sometime this week an on the go with Calder's reaction to the surprise. It's just a couple of different on the go type recordings of Calder throughout the week, and of course the surprise. So I can't wait to hear. I haven't heard it yet, and I'm so excited to listen because I could see in the pictures that he was just completely blown away, and it was just so precious to see the pictures. So I know that the audio is going to be so fantastic.
Oh, just you wait. He was so excited that he's like, this is my podcast. And I said, sure, go with it. Do what you want. So most of the on the go is him. And he would remind me, hey, we haven't recorded the podcast today. We need to do that.
That's good, because you kind of need somebody to remind you, because like it's so hard when you're actually on the trip to remind yourself to do, like, to stop and do them. I'm terrible at it. So I have to be better at it on my next upcoming trips. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about this being your first Disney cruise. So you and Calder and John this was all your first Disney cruise. So what were some things that you were, I guess, worried about or just concerns that you had beforehand?
I think mine all stemmed from just booking so late. And because of our job and this podcast, like we deep dive into so many things and
Mhm.
we know all there is to know about it, but it's a little bit different when you're on the other side. And
Absolutely.
I have my husband in my ear, like, well, you should know this stuff. And it's like, okay, this is what I've been told. So obviously I knew things what to expect, but I didn't know how to convey that the best to him and know exactly what to tell him. I didn't want to overwhelm him, but I also wanted him to be prepared. And he's also, I shouldn't say this, but he's very easily annoyed. So I have to like temper what I share when I share it. Where it was a surprise for Calder, he had zero expectations going in. John, he looked at the food menus and kind of knew like about the aqueduct and some things like that. But aside from that, he did zero research himself. So he was heavily relying on me.
Well, and the thing is, regardless, what you see in the app before the cruise, like you can book excursions and do all those things, but once you get on the ship's Wi-Fi, everything changes and it completely populates and you have all this other information about all the activities and things that are available on the ship. If you've never been on that ship before, even if you've been on a Disney cruise, you still don't know what to expect. You don't know what's going to be there.
Yes. And I think I started to get a little worried because I was ordering all sorts of like cruise type hacks, like shoe organizer for the door and the fish extender little pouch. And I wanted magnets for the door. And I just started growing this pile. And I started worrying that I just had way too much stuff. And then I also had the content creator in me who was like, I need a different dress for every dinner. And I need different outfits for every day. And so the packing aspect was very stressful, especially because I was trying to do it in secret. And I worked the day before we left, which I should not have done. That was a mistake because that was my last day while the kids were in school. I think that part was more stressful than like the actual like cruise part.
Right. Yeah. Leading up to it. So, you guys, Krystle sends me this. At first, I thought it was just a picture. I didn't realize, because when I first looked at it, when she sent the text, she was like, does this look like it's too much? And she had little like snippets of pictures of her outfits that she was trying to pack into her suitcase. When I first looked, I was like, no, that looks fine, because all I saw was basically a screenshot of the first part of the outfit. And then I realized that it was actually a screen recording, and it scrolled and it scrolled and it scrolled. I was like, I don't know.
Like I said, I wanted a different dress for every single meal. I had a different outfit for every day. I had contingencies for like when we met Rex and for excursions. And I only took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pairs of ears, and I could have taken more. I wanted to take a cute mini rattan little bag because
Mm-hmm.
it's cute. Is it
Yep.
functional? 0%. I wanted different bags to match different outfits. It got a little out of hand.
Your ears selection, that is so hard, because you just want to throw all of them in, and just in case you decide that you want to wear whichever ones, but you know that you can only take like so many. I suffer from that as well. Okay. Was there anything else? Was it mostly just that, like the packing and just
The packing part, yeah, and just like the whole element of the surprise and leaving the girls here and the logistics, and grandparents kept trying to ruin it and say stuff. If anybody knows Harper, she picks up on every little minute detail and every conversation, and she reads over your shoulder with a text. And so John and I are trying to like text
uh-huh.
plans and things, and we're getting ready. That day we were leaving to go to the airport. She says something. Are we leaving? Are we going somewhere? And John goes, what are you talking about? Well, you guys are acting strange and you're doing all the things that we do when we leave for vacation. So I was like making sure the dishwasher was full and starting taking out the trash and cleaning certain things up. And she was like in tune with that and
That's
knew.
hilarious. My little stinker. Okay. So let's move on to the surprise. Just like tell us a little bit, because I want to hear about how the surprise went. and just kind of what happened leading up to it, your day leading up to the surprise.
So we had everything packed, and we did it all in 3 carry-ons and 3 backpacks. So that's why it was stressing even more. I was not checking it back. But we had everything in John's car, and then John's dad picked us up to take us to the airport. And so when Calder got in the car, he was kind of like, oh, what's going on? Why are their bags back here? And Harper like immediately like perks up like, I know. And we're like, can you be quiet, please? So we dropped the girls off at my mother-in-law's house, and we kind of said, well, we might be going on a little trip. And they all got excited thinking they're spending the weekend at grandma's. And we're like, well, Calder, what if you went with us? And he's like, what? I thought I was staying here. Like, they were just fine to stay at grandma's, and that if mom and dad leave, which if they're going to act like that, we should do that more often. But then he kind of got excited, and he's like, wait, is this my 10-year-old trip? And we said, yes. So we went to the airport, and he still has no idea. We're in the little Southwest wing. It's going great. We're sitting there, and a mom comes up to us and goes, are you flying to Orlando? And I just kind of like look at her, and she's like, I have my teenage son is nervous about flying by himself, and I told him I'd find another mom to keep an eye out because he's too old to do unaccompanied minor. And I was like, okay, yeah, great, we can do that. So then Calder, his wheels started turning, but we're like, well, maybe it's just a layover. Like, mom and dad spent a couple hours in Orlando when we went to the Dominican because Columbus is not big enough to go. And he's like, so we could still be going to New York? And we're like, sure. And he's like, my other guess is Egypt.
Egypt.
So we just kind of went with that. And then we got to Orlando, and we called an Uber, and he's like, well, what are we doing? And I said, well, it's late. Like, it was dark out, so we need to go find a hotel. And he's like, so are we going to Disney? Are we going to Universal? Are we staying in Orlando? And I said, I don't know. You'll have to find out. So he still has no idea. The next morning, he gets up, and I have an outfit picked for him, and it was a Disneyland shirt. And he goes, oh, I know. We're going to the parks. And I said, you can't be so sure because the parks here mean Universal, SeaWorld, Legoland, Disney. Like, it could be anything. And at this point, we're like closer to Coco than we are to Orlando. And we have friends that live near Coco. And John's like, well, what if we're just going to go see our friends? And he goes, oh, that would be so awesome. So he still's not clued in. We're in an Uber, and I had mentioned to the Uber driver when we were loading the car, I said, this is a surprise if you could not mention where you're taking us and dropping us off. And she understood and said, okay. So we're to the port. I can see the boat. And Calder and John are looking out the other direction. John's purposely like, hey, right over there's our friend's house. And then he sees the Disney Cruise Line bus from the resorts or from the airport pass us. And he goes, are we going on a Mickey cruise? I was like, what makes you think that? He goes, the bus, it's right there. And I was like, what? No. And then he sees the ships come in the distance. You can see the big MSC.
Yeah.
And you can see the Disney ship. And he got so excited.
Oh.
He was beside himself. But we were a little bit early to the port. They were having some IT issues that day. So everybody was super late getting on. I think we were like an hour and a half past our port arrival time by the time we actually walked onto the ship. So we just were sitting outside, and it felt so warm, like in a little courtyard area. And he was just so excited, jumping around, and he had to call everybody and tell them what we were doing. He wanted to make his sisters jealous, of course.
Well, yeah.
But he was so grateful. He was like giving me hugs, telling me thank you, hugging his dad. And we were trying to give him like a little bit of a rundown of what was going on. And at this point, I was on ship Wi-Fi, and I was going through and like hearting things and trying to get like an idea of where we're eating dinner and what activities we wanted to do. And then it wasn't until we were actually on the ship and in the atrium, they have the Pixar Day at Sea. Did we like tell him like, hey, in addition to this being a Disney cruise, it's also a Pixar cruise. So that's a whole other element. And so then he's a big Pixar guy. He got very excited about that. But that first day is so stressful already of just, we're already behind schedule. Straight to the muster drill, straight to the deck show, the Selway party, straight to the show, straight to dinner. We didn't really have time to like sit down and like digest anything.
Did the muster drill happen on time since everybody was so late?
No, they pushed it a half hour. I got a little pop up in the app that they were pushing it. I think they might have also announced it, but our room was already
Probably.
ready. Our bags were already at our room.
Yeah. I think on a regular day, rooms are ready by like 1 or 1:30. So as long as like the cast members on the ship are not running behind, because I mean, it was the IT portion that was running behind. So they probably had everything ready to go. But Disney Cruise Line was on the struggle bus all week last week, like
Yes.
just in general, because they dropped 2027 itineraries and the website was a hot mess. I was helping get some things booked for some clients and we couldn't get what we wanted booked and had to call in. And of course, the wait to call in was forever.
Yeah. So you add 2027 dropping. They're adding a new IT system for how they scan in, and it kept like
Oh no.
and signing them out. So they each had like two devices trying to scan us in, and then they would like drop and do something. And then this week, while we were on the ship, the app completely changed the interface. Like it already had updated like a couple weeks ago, like a little bit of a new look.
Yeah.
It completely changed. So bad week for DCL to be playing with IT when the 2027 itineraries are already dropping and it's already a chaos.
Yeah, you would think that somebody would think about that stuff, but for whatever reason they don't. They seem to like just throw everything out at the same time and everything just blows up, but oh, that's so funny. Okay, so let's talk about your room for a minute. You had the guaranteed stateroom, but what kind of stateroom did you have? And what did you think? What was your first impression when you walked in?
We booked a navigator's veranda, which is the one with the like porthole in the veranda. So it's not like a full veranda. But when we got our stateroom number, I looked up a video online and it was a full veranda. So we got stateroom 6160. When you get off the aft elevators in the back of the ship and take a left to go down the rooms for the hall for the stateroom, you could take a left or you could take a right. If you take a right, were the first room. So I feel like we lucked out with our stateroom location. It was just a regular veranda. It wasn't the deluxe. The deluxe was actually underneath us because they had the extended veranda. We could see down into the veranda, but we thought it was great. I'm glad that we were able to do that first because John wanted to do the inside stateroom, but it was like a $200 difference from inside to the navigator's veranda for the guaranteed rate. So
Yeah, it's not worth it. Yeah.
I talked him into it and he's like, I don't know if I could ever do an inside after staying. So
Yeah.
we got him there. So that was good.
Yeah, and it's awesome that you got the full one instead of the navigator. That's
Yeah.
awesome that you got that instead.
So either way, I would have been happy. It was cool to have the split bathroom. We unpacked. I liked having the two closets. Calder opted to sleep in the pull down berth, the upper bunk.
Mm-hmm.
So one of us used the couch with our suitcase. I used a closet and some drawers. Calder used a closet and like some of the shelves in the closet. And then we could have had space for others. But yeah, it worked great for the three of
There's
us.
tons of storage in those rooms.
Yeah. John's like, you didn't leave me any drawers. I'm like, I left you 3 drawers, but you're not even using drawers. And there's stuff in the closet we could have used too.
Yeah, there's so much space. And you have under the bed as well. The Pixar Day at Sea portion. When was your Pixar Day, first of all? Because, that you don't really, I don't think you don't really find that out until you get on, right? So what did you guys do that kind of incorporated that theming into it?
So we got on Sunday, right? Yes. Monday was our first sea day, and it was the Pixar Day at Sea. So when we woke up in the morning, so the whole week in the atrium, there was like a big Pixar Day at Sea backdrop that you could take pictures with that was there all week. But then Monday, there were additional banners in cabanas and around the pool deck. They were showing like special Pixar shorts and movies on the funnel all day. Certain lights, like above the elevator, they changed them to red, yellow, and blue for like the Pixar ball. And that day was full of like Pixar characters, Pixar events, Pixar trivia, how to draw Pixar characters. So like the entire day was just jam-packed. We had a special dinner that night. So with the rotational dining, it was like A, B, B, C. So we were in Enchanted Garden the first and second night, but the second night was the Pixar menu.
Yeah.
Then we went to Royal Court the third and fourth, and the fourth night was Pirate menu. And then Animator's Palette was our third rotation. So I enjoyed the Pixar menu. I thought it was really good. But throughout the day, there were so many characters. We met Miguel. They had a special ship-shape adventure wilderness explorers that you picked up a little map at the Port Adventures desk. And they had these little badges, basically, all around the ship in different windows or on glass. They're like window clings. And they had like a whole thing about being responsible for the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
And you had to match the badge with a letter throughout the day. So that was one thing that Calder wanted to do because they had a whole ceremony at the end of the day, but you had to figure out what the word was in order to get your badge, I guess.
Yeah.
So that was part of our day. We met Mike Wazowski. We saw Russell and Doug were just randomly, not on the schedule, randomly on the jogging track. I ended up picking up, while we were waiting to get on, a Incredible encounter. So we met Mr. Incredible and Frozone.
Ooh, fun.
That was a good one. Towel animals. Like, there was a towel animal of a Wally on the pool deck, like, different around. You know, they, like, fold them funny.
Mm-hmm.
We did a Learn to Draw Lightning McQueen, because Calder's obsessed with lightning. That was really cool. Jesse and Woody and Buzz were out. Bo Peep was out. We got his little ceremony for collecting the word. He also met Russell and Doug as part of that. We did Midship Detective Agency. We started it this day. Spoiler, Calder's obsessed and wanted to do this the entire trip. And for those who don't know, Midship is basically like a giant game of Clue. And you get like this QR code and you stand on a certain symbol in front of certain magic paintings and it gives you like things to do and you solve the mysteries. So there's like a Muppets one, there's a Mickey one, and there's like a 101 Dalmatians one. Then before dinner, they had a Pixar Pals celebration on the pool deck and all the characters came out. Oh, someone we did not stand in line to meet was Remy because he had a 2-hour wait.
Wow.
But all the Toy Story friends, you had Woody, Jesse, Buzz, Bo Peep, Party Source Rex came out, Bullseye came out. They also had a Woody's Hey Howdy Hey Roundup breakfast that I could never find a spot for, but that was that morning as well. Coco, Miguel, who else was out? Mike and Sully, Joy and Sadness. Sadness was hilarious. Remy, Russell and Doug. So I was kind of surprised that the movies they focused on and the movies they didn't have any. There was a Luca poster. There was no other mention of Luca. There was a Bug's Life poster, but there was no other mention of a Bug's Life.
Yeah. Interesting. What dining time did you do?
We had late dining.
Okay. So the deck party, was that probably during early dining?
Yes, that was in place of the show that night. I liked late dining because I didn't feel like I had to like rush to get ready for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
John did not like it as much. He wished he would have had time for things to like digest. I think the rocking at night kind of got to him. He's like, I didn't have time to walk off my dinner. But that was one of my favorite meals was the Pixar night. I will say, with it being Pixar that day, I felt like there were a lot of people on board who were not first-time sailors, people who were there to collect autographs and meet characters. Like Mickey and Minnie were in special Pixar outfits.
Yeah.
You have the people who are willing to wait the 3 hours to stand in line to collect characters in their different outfits. And it made it more busy. Like, I'm glad we had another C day.
Mm-hmm.
If this would have been our only C day, it would have been hard because it was already just so jam-packed and so much going on. And we wanted to do all the things that with the lateness of the day before And then this being such a full day, John was like, I have walked more today than I've walked in the parks. And I started to get a little worried that I was like, shoot, this is going to be like a bad experience.
Your first day, I think regardless, I think your first day is when it's especially when it's your first cruise, just feels a little bit chaotic because you haven't had a chance to really get used to everything and everything is just new and I don't know. I would think regardless of whether it was a sea day or not, I think that you would have felt like that on the first day. Did they have any like special merchandise in the
Yes.
shops that were Pixar specific?
Yes. They had a couple of specific shirts that were Pixar Day at Sea, ornaments, pens, and then they had like this third room in Mickey's main cell that was 90% Pixar things. And I
Mhm.
don't know if that's because it was a Pixar Day at Sea or if it was just merch they have all the time. Like they had Woody and Jesse dolls and they had a bunch of the plush like Bruce and Squirt and Nemo, and it was a very Pixar centric room except for
Yeah.
one wall had pirate stuff. So I don't know if that was because of the sailing or if that's normal. Lotso, Loungefly, things like that. I did pick up my pin and my ornament that first day because once things sell out on the ship, they do not restock.
Yeah.
And the pins did get really low.
Yeah, I think stuff like that. If it's something that you know for sure that you really, really want, you need to go on the first day. Okay. Let's go back to dining. So you said, so your rotational dining. What was your experience with that? So I know you said that you really liked the Pixar night menu. Did you have a favorite restaurant overall? Just vibe and food and everything was your favorite? And then what about Calder? Like, did he have a favorite or John have a favorite?
I really like Enchanted Garden when they had like a really good prime rib and just where they had us seated. John really liked Royal Court. He said it didn't feel as chaotic, but we're also against the wall near one of the murals. So we didn't
Mhm.
have any tables on two sides of us because we're
Yeah.
kind of on the walkway. So
Mm.
he didn't feel like it was as chaotic. I felt like the nights that we were at Royal Court, dinner took forever. So that was like kind of probably why that wasn't my favorite.
Yeah.
And then Calder really loved Animator's Palette. Food wise, there was nothing that was bad. I felt like all the menus were kind of different, same kind of food, different version of it. So you always had your meat and potatoes, you always had your pasta, you
Mhm.
always had your fish option.
Yeah.
So we always found something we liked. Spoiler alert, Calder had shrimp at every meal except for breakfast because they didn't offer it at Cabanas.
That's hilarious. I saw his picture with his shrimp and pasta cabanas that you had posted.
Oh, yes, yes. Every night he got shrimp of some sort.
That's so funny. Well,
Uh,
I loved Animator's Palette, so I'm on Team Calder.
yeah, it was cute. I think by then, since it was our last rotation, I was just kind of a little bit fooded out.
I will absolutely 100% agree with you. I think I said something similar that like I just felt like there was so much food and it was too much almost.
I do have to tell you before we move on from Pixar night, we got back to the room and Calder had dinosaur sheets.
Aw.
He got the special pixie dust sheets, and Chris, our little room attendant, had made him a Wally out of towels and set it up on top.
Oh, how
And
fun.
Calder loves Wally. I could take or leave the movie. When he asked to watch it at home, I like, if I'm not around, sure, but if I'm around, I'm watching something different.
Yeah, I don't love it either.
And he made him a little Wally, and he knew it was we were there for his birthday, and that was just very sweet because I know that I know not to ask for the sheets because they're pixie dust only, but it was very sweet.
That's precious. That's so precious. So, did they just in general like your server team with rotational dining and then also your room attendant, did they how did they, I guess, engage or like what conversations did they have with Calder specifically about his birthday maybe or just in general?
I reminded them about Calder's birthday like 3 nights in. I think it was finally pirate night before they like sing to him. We'd had it noted to do it Pixar night, but it just was too chaotic. I think our dining team was very overwhelmed. He had 5 tables. They were all 8 tops except for one that was a 5.
Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah. They were just very overwhelmed.
No, that's disappointing. But I mean, the fact that they had that many tables with that many people, that seems somewhat unfair to me, I guess. But
And like we could tell they were overwhelmed. Our little drink lady was so great to like bring us limes, and our head server like would pill call their shrimp. But there was like one night we didn't get a refill till dessert of our drinks. So it was like things like that that's like,
yeah, yeah,
ugh.
you kind of expect more.
Yes. Our room guy, he was phenomenal. He was great. Not that
How-
our dining team was bad. We could all tell that they were overwhelmed. So the night, pirate night actually, half our table did not come. They set us at an 8 top with a family of 5. They did not come to pirate night. We were in and out of dinner in an hour. The other nights it was taken to.
Yeah, and maybe those particular parties were extremely demanding, as well. And you guys just weren't as demanding as they were. That could be a possibility as well. Because there were 6 of us, we all sat together every single night, so we didn't have any other people that were like we didn't have other staterooms sitting with us. We always sat just us at our table.
And I probably could have like made a request to sit at a smaller table, but since we were so close to booking, I was just like, wherever they put us, it'll be great. We're on the ship. Great experience for John and Calder to be a little more social,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
but it was great. They were a family from Mississippi. They had 3 older kids, a boy and 2 girls, and it was very fun to like show Calder like, hey, this is how you should act towards your sisters.
Yeah, that's funny. Did you do anything like? Did you get any like specialty items as far as like food, coffee? Did you get cocktails, anything like that? Did you do any of those things?
We did. We got a popcorn bucket, just like the generic little
Uh-huh.
round, and filled it every night for the shows. There were a couple times that John got a can of Diet Coke at the show because he was annoyed that he would have to walk clear to deck 11 to fill his water bottle with Diet Coke.
Uh-huh.
The merch, we went a little overboard on the merch.
It's so hard not to.
I know. On Lighthouse, we got the cooler with the bottled water.
Yeah. We did that too.
Trying to think. We didn't get any specialty coffees. I didn't even, I walked into Cove Cafe and got a Rice Krispie, but the treats are free.
Mhm.
We didn't do any cocktails. I almost got like a sipper at dinner one night, but then I was like, they're just so overwhelmed that
Yeah.
I don't
It was
want to
just
do
too
it.
much.
That's probably about it.
Okay. So let's talk about like just activities and things like that. Did you spend much time at the pool? And
Yes, we did both of our sea days. We spent time at the pool, and then both of the actually basically every day because we came back early from Lighthouse for pool, and we only spent an hour on Nassau and came back for the pool. So there was time in every day that we were at the pool deck.
okay. And how was the pool as far as like one of the things that we were shocked by is how small the pool was on the Magic, but that was also the first ship. So what was the pool like?
So on the pool deck, there were 2 pools. They were both kind of crowded. Our ship was full. Like it was a full sailing. We're because it was Mardi Gras week. They were full with kids. I never actually got in the pool.
Yeah.
Did the aqueduct a couple times, but I was happy just to sit in the sun.
Mhm.
Uh, we sat most of the time on deck 12. We found some good spots up there that weren't as crazy with little kids.
Yeah.
And we were kind of near the family area over on the front of the funnel where there's like a little pool
Mhm.
that wasn't as crowded that I could have easily hopped into. And I could have also gone to the adults only pool that was quiet as well. So there are a lot of options around, but I was content just laying in the sun. Went on the aqueduct a couple times to cool off, but that was the extent of my swimming on the boat.
Okay. Did you watch anything on Funnel Vision, or did you mostly stick to the movie theaters?
We were there, we watched stuff. There were a couple times that Calder just sat in the pool and just watched. We were not the parents to let him check himself in and out of the kids club. And since it was just him and us, like we were there to spend time together. So when we're at the pool deck, we'd give him like times, like a 30-minute or an hour and be like, hey, you need to come check in. And when he would miss his check-in, I would start like looking for him and he's just sitting on the side of the pool, just watching whatever
Oh,
movie was on.
yeah.
So there was always something up there playing and we just like Frozen was on one day. The Pixar day with all the shorts was fun because those aren't ones we usually like sit and flip through
Yeah.
on Disney Plus.
Did you do any of the shows, like the Broadway style shows?
Yes, our very first night was Aladdin. And going into this, John's like, I have two daughters. I don't need to watch Frozen. We could skip that one if that's part of our rotation. Well, the first night was Aladdin. And we go and we come back and he's like, that was so good. He said, forget everything I said. I forget how well they do those shows. We will go to every show.
That's awesome.
So we did Aladdin the first night. Then it would have been our Lighthouse day, right? Yes. Was Believe, the DCL original.
Mm-hmm.
And we got 40 minutes into it, and there was a medical emergency with some of the stage crew.
Oh, no.
So they had to stop the show. They didn't even do it for the second showing that night. The next night was Pirate Night and was supposed to be a magician because you have all the stuff going on with the pirate deck parties, all the stuff. And they ended up showing both showings the next night. So we got to rewatch it because we all wanted to see how it ended.
Yeah.
It was very cute. And then the last night was Frozen. I think Believe was my favorite. Frozen was probably my least favorite, but it's hard to do. I don't know. I've seen Frozen in different capacities. So when you see it so many times and like the whole way they did Olaf, it was good. It just wasn't my favorite.
Yeah. Okay. And then what about, did you guys do like actual movies? Did you go to the movie theaters at all?
We didn't have time. Like we didn't have a full 2 hours of like, what are we going to do
Mhm.
today?
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. You think that beforehand, you think you're going to have this, time to do all these things, and you get on the ship and there's so many things going on. It's overwhelming, and you definitely can't do everything for sure. You have to prioritize what you want to do. So did he do the Oceaneer Club, the kids club?
Yes. I'm trying to think. Did he do it every day? He might not have done it every day. And it was kind of just like an hour after dinner, or there was like on our Nassau day, we wanted to do a trivia that was adults only. So it was like 30 minutes here or an hour here, or the last night I needed to pack. So it was easy to send him for an hour.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just in those like short little bursts.
Okay.
One, to give him a break from us, and me also to like, hey, I need to like sit down and focus on this for a second.
Yeah.
And you can play.
Yeah. Okay. But he liked it. It seemed like he liked it.
Yes, he loved it. And he would have stayed longer. And I kind of worried because he is 10, so he's the oldest of the club. And there were a lot of little kids, and I was worried that he would feel like it was too babyish, but he found plenty to do.
Yeah. Well, he also has two little sisters, so
Yeah.
he's used to having a younger crowd to play with. Okay, well, let's talk about Lighthouse, because you stopped at Lighthouse and you stopped at Nassau. You did not have Castaway Key on this trip. So how did you like Lighthouse? What was your impression?
When I went into it, I did not have high expectations because I've heard that of the two, everybody loves Castaway more. And I didn't want to like judge it too harshly knowing it's new.
Mm-hmm.
We rope chopped the island and we got there and got some great seats on the beach. I, as a content creator, had all kinds of plans I would have wanted to do, but it was a day that I was like, I'm just going to let the boys lead the way, and what we do is what we do. So we were first off, we got some great seats, beautiful beach, beautiful water. We snorkeled, all three of us snorkeled for a while. We saw some cute little fish. When we got there, the tide was high, so there wasn't a lot of beach, and then it lowered as the day went on. we started to see some people. What if we rope dropped? We probably got there 8:30,
Mm-hmm.
and it was about 11 o'clock. We started seeing people come. Like there were people to our left that had two families. There were at least four adults and at least four or five kids, and they had four loungers and four of the little just like chairs.
Mm-hmm.
And some lady came right up and like grabbed a chair out of the middle of them and started carrying it away. And the lady's like, "Excuse me, like that's our chair." And she goes, "Well, you didn't have anything on it to save it." And we
Wow.
started seeing a lot more of this. And it's because people didn't realize that you needed to like make a plan to get chairs, or they were lazy and didn't want to walk the distance.
Yes.
So it's a people problem. It's not a Disney problem. It's
No.
just people feeling like they're entitled to a chair.
Yes.
So we had our four loungers. I had stuff on all of them. We only had three people. Could I have given a lounger to someone? Yes. But I also had all of our stuff laid out. Calder was going between different ones. He wanted a wet towel. He wanted a dry towel. He's like, this is my front chair. This is my back chair. So that was interesting. I think people just didn't want to walk the length of the beach to find more chairs because we were right there at the Goombay Cultural Center, like
Yeah.
right as you come in.
Yeah. They really, in my opinion, is I don't think they have enough chairs.
They probably
Based
don't.
on my experience.
But I just thought it was interesting that started happening a lot, like around lunchtime.
Yeah, once more
And
people started coming out.
yes, and I had on my schedule the one thing I told John. I said I want to go do the little dance thing at the Junkanoo party at
Mm-hmm.
the buffet.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like at 12-ish. So we left our stuff on the chairs. We walked over there. We did that little dance party. Mickey and Minnie came out. And then we went and got food, which for mass produced barbecue on an island, I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Then after lunch, John goes, we could go sit for another hour, or we could just go pack up and go back to the ship and go to the aqueduct a couple times. And Calder's like, I want to do that. So we went and packed up and made it back to the ship, and the ship was dead. My biggest thing with the island is that there are no maps out. Like there's no like board that says this is where you're at, this is where this is happening. This is like I told the people next to us, I said, the splash pad's right there. And they're like, what? And I was like, it's right there if you go. Luckily I had a screenshot on my phone that I could like see where we're at compared to like the different food. John said there was one in the app. I could never find it. I don't know how he found it, but when I was looking, I couldn't find a map. And luckily I had the screenshot on my phone.
Yeah, I don't think it's intuitive at all.
So that was my biggest just like gripe, because when you're on the boardwalk, it's kind of like a maze trying to figure out
It is.
how to get from here to there to wherever.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see if you're not a beach person that you could be kind of bored and not love it. It's not like Castaway where you have your bike trail, you have your 5K, you have your different excursions right there. They did have excursions. You could do like some fishing, and they had like the banana thing being pulled behind the boat.
Mm-hmm.
They had some excursions, but if you're not a beach person, there's not a lot for you.
I think they have like the nature trail and stuff like that, but you have to know
Yes.
where to go and that it's there and kind of know to go off the beaten path to find it. And, when we were there, we couldn't. So if you think about your day there and that basically the water was fine, all the excursions were available. Basically, none of the excursions were available because the water was rough. It was a red flag. You couldn't go into the water. So add the like chaos of people like wanting to steal chairs on top of like not having anything else to do. Like that's partially why our experience was not the greatest. And I would love to be able to go back and see it again. But I would agree with you about the layout. It's not as intuitive. You don't really know what you're doing or where you're going. They just drop you off and there's not a clear indication of where to go to get to places for sure. And it sounds like you just went off. Did you just like go around the shopping area in Nassau? Didn't do a whole lot there?
Yeah, we got off. We went to the straw market. We found some little, like a Minnie and a Elsa little straw crossbody for the girls. Called their one like a little wooden car just to say we'd been there. But it was a busy day in Nassau. There were, I think they said 7 ships in port that day.
Holy cow.
There was Liberty of the Seas, Wonder of the Seas, both royal. There was the big MSC Seashore was there. There were 2 Carnival cruise ships. We were there. Maybe it was just that. I thought there was another one. Maybe a princess. So it was busy. And they told us at dinner the night before, they said, if you get off, give yourself a lot of time to get back because of the security checkpoint before you like to even get into the port.
Mm-hmm.
It bottlenecks, especially with so many people. So we slept in that morning. We said we'll let the first rush off. And then we walked through that little market. When you go out the gates and take a right to go down to the straw market, don't come back to those same main gates to get back on
No,
into
it's not
the
the
port. You
same.
gotta,
Go
you
around.
gotta do it beforehand. But they had made sure to tell us, hey, adults, make sure you have your ID because they match IDs, even if it's just a driver's license, to make sure that it matches your card to say who you are at that little security checkpoint. And there were people on other ships that were like, I don't have an ID. I just have my ship card. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get off the boat. So I did feel like Disney did really well, like preparing us for that aspect.
Mm-hmm.
The day before in Lighthouse, these poor people in front of us, they didn't have their son's key to the world card. So they couldn't get off the ship. They said, even though this is our island, we need a card to scan for every single
Yeah,
person.
because they have to make sure that you're accounted for. You have to go back up and get it.
So they were trying to rope drop and would have been one of the first people off. And they stood over the side and mom ran back up to the room. So I was just like, they told us that at dinner, like everybody needs their key to the world card to get on and off. But then I was just like, I wonder if you had an agent that could have told you that.
Well, when you have a 12-year-old that doesn't remember things, even if you told her 25 times before you leave the room to make sure that you have your card, she sometimes doesn't remember. So you sometimes end up being those people too, even though you told her to
Oh,
have it. You have to run up and get the card. Yeah.
I feel
That
it.
happened to us one of our days. I don't remember what day it was. It might have been our Nassau day. And so I didn't really care. It wasn't like a big deal, I don't think. Either way, it wasn't a big deal. But yes, I think I'm pretty sure Lena had hers in her phone case the entire time. That's just where she would put it. And for whatever reason, Ella didn't. And I have no idea. I don't know what she did with it, but I had to run back up and grab it. What about the quick service kind of lunch? I mean, it's for anything. It's not just for lunch, but like the quick service options that are on really mostly the pool deck area. Did you try any of those? What did you think? And then what did you think about cabanas?
I had, is it Ramone's or Luigi's? The bowl of like, it's kind of like Chipotle
Mm-hmm.
one day. That was really good. There was one night we had pizza out there and a hot dog because it was like 5 o'clock and we were hungry, trying to like get through to dinner.
Yeah.
Cabanas was great. Like once you kind of figure out what you like, it's kind of the same stuff the whole week. So
Yes.
it's not like they're like rotating it through except for churro Mickey waffles. So we each kind of found like our favorite things for lunch or for breakfast. And that's kind of what we stuck with. Calder had his peel and eat shrimp every day
That's so
with
funny.
noodles. The regular Mickey waffles, John and I were obsessed. They weren't like overly done. They were very fluffy and a little bit gooey on the inside. And that was our go-to every single day. Didn't care for the like powdered eggs. Like I wish they would change that. And I'm not the only one who's complained about those.
Yeah.
But they had like omelet if I wanted it, the good sausage, bacon,
Yeah.
all the fruit. The fruit was phenomenal. So it was good. Not,
Yeah.
I can't complain.
I think Rob's favorite was breakfast at cabanas. Like he didn't like the fancy dinners. He liked just the regular breakfast with, bacon and sausage and waffles and, at cabanas. That was his favorite. And of course, the day that they do the churro waffles. Oh, they're so good.
That was our last sea day.
Mm-hmm.
And that morning, I had not had another opportunity to get up early and go explore the ship just to take pictures, get some video. So, and that was on, because it's Thursday mornings. And Thursday mornings, I usually have like a 7:30 meeting. So I'm naturally just like up earlier. So I rolled over. It was like 6 o'clock. I'm like, oh, I'll just get up and walk around, watch the sunrise. I rope dropped Cabanas and grabbed a couple of churro Mickey waffles at 7:30 so I could use them for content and ate them and then went back to the room and got the boys up because I sat on the like deck for an hour. It was like 8:30, 9 o'clock. I'm like, okay, let's get moving here. Let's go get, you're going to miss your waffles. So I was glad I had a pre-breakfast snack. So I had double churro Mickey waffles. They
That
still
was
don't
definitely my
know.
favorite.
They don't know that. He'll probably see a picture one day and be like, when did you take this picture?
That's hilarious. So they don't know that you already were up?
Well, I told them like, oh yeah, I've been up and I went exploring, but they didn't realize
That is
that
so funny.
a pre-breakfast.
Pre-breakfast breakfast. That is so funny. To wrap things up, what are your kind of overall thoughts? Did you have any kind of like moment where you're like, wow, I understand why people love these cruises so much? Any major disappointments, like things like that? So you're just your overall thoughts.
Well, I cried when they announced us when we walked on because I was so happy to just finally be there.
Yeah.
Overall, would we go back? Yes, we bought placeholders. John said he is an 8.5 over 10 overall experience.
Wow.
Yes, and he's a pretty harsh judge of things. He did say he did not want to become a cruise only person and not only a Disney cruise person. He would like to try other lines and he doesn't want to like not go to the parks anymore, which I get. With Disney, you get for what you pay for. You get the shows, you get the exceptional service. We pulled up next to, sorry if anybody loves Carnival. There were a couple times that we were next to Carnival ships. The first was at our mustard drill, and the funnel was all burnt. And John goes, "Wow, that looks like a burnt grilled cheese." And then in Nassau, we were parked next to another one, and while we're in port, you have workers all over the ship, like painting and doing maintenance and like doing upkeep of our ship. Like you
Hmm.
see them all the time if you're looking for them. Next, this Carnival one, it's all rusted. It just looks dungy. It just doesn't look great. And it could have just been like a really old ship.
Yeah, it might have been an older ship because they have them. I think they have some nicer, newer
I have some
ships.
newer ships. And I'm sure it was like a little 3-day down to Nassau and back.
Yeah.
Like cheap, super easy to get on. But John turned and he looks, and then he looks at me and he goes, "That's why you pay for Disney." He goes, "You never know that this boat came out in 2012. He goes, "It is clean. You never see any crumbs on the floor. You never see anything out of place. The quality is what you'd expect out of Disney."
I would agree. I mean, we were on the Magic. We were on the very first ship that was ever out, and I don't think that it looked old at all. I mean, I'm sure that there's like more modern things on the newer ships, but I didn't feel like I was on like an old dungy ship that was like should have been, retired or something like that.
I think we lucked out with our room location, and that helped our experience, especially because we're big on the soda, and it was easy to hop the elevator and run up and get something in our water bottles. The one morning I was exploring, and I went up to the front where it was the Edge and Vibe,
Hmm.
and it took me forever to get all the way back to Cabanas. By the time you're like snaking through staterooms, and if you don't know your way around the ship, and so I think that could change someone's experience. Like if
Yeah.
you're just clear at the very end of one of the halls, or I know everybody loves midship, but the midship elevators were the worst. You could never get an elevator. But the aft and forward elevators, empty 90% of the time. I never had a problem getting an elevator.
Yeah.
So there are little things like that that I think played into it that just made it more enjoyable.
And that's the thing is like that. There's probably some people that would rather be near Edge and Vibe because
That's where
they're
they're
kids,
yeah.
or whatever. So I think it's depends on what's important to you, and it really does make a difference where you choose to have your room. With a guaranteed room, they choose it for you, so you have to be flexible and let them put you where they put you. But yeah, we took the stairs a lot because we were kind of mid forward, and we were closest to that midship elevator. And yeah, I mean, it was always full. So we just took the stairs most of the time. But we were on deck 7. Yeah, so we just and our ship is not we don't have as many decks. Ours was like 10 decks because it was a smaller ship. So we just had to go up 2 in order to get to the deck that had all the drinks and stuff. So a little bit different for you because you had to go up 6 or
Yes.
5 or 6.
So we were on 6. Kids Club was 5, and it was basically right underneath us.
Nice.
So we did comment that if we would have been the room just directly below us, would have been a bit annoying because everybody was using those aft elevators or stairs and then
Mhm.
going that hallway to get to Kids Club. So it's just like high traffic.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were port. And when we were at Lighthouse, we sat and watched people come in we sat and watched the pier, people walking because we were ported on that side.
Mhm.
Yeah, we looked out. It was great. The weather was perfect the entire time. There was one night that it was a little rough, and I had some meds ready. I didn't do the patch. I just did like some Amazon Bonine or whatever it's called.
Mhm.
And I kept one in my system just to be safe. I think John might have taken one once or twice. Calder had like gummy herbal ginger, basically, just because I was worried that I didn't want him to like
Yeah.
throw up in the middle of the night when he was on the top bunk trying to be disoriented and not know where he's at.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, great weather, great experience. The girls are now planning their 10-year-old trips and claiming they're going on cruises. I suspect we'll be back before they turn 10.
Yeah, I would think so too. I would hope so. I mean, especially since you have the placeholders.
And we have a placeholder. We got to use it before then. So
Yeah. I've talked to the girls about, usually the girls and I do some kind of like beach trip, or, it's generally a beach sometime, just the 3 of us over the summer. And I've talked to them about doing something similar, except doing a cruise, doing like a 4-night cruise. Because last year we went to Vero Beach, and a lot of times we go to Seabrook. But depending on what's available, if we hit like a really great guaranteed room promotion or something like that, we could go on a 4-night cruise for the same price as we could go to Seabrook for the same amount of time. And I asked Lena because she was kind of iffy about it when we went in October, and she said no, she would actually like to try it again. And so I think we may try to do that over the summer. I'm crossing my fingers that I'll be able to find something that a deal will pop up.
that's exciting. And I will just say, as we were like planning this trip, we had the rate for the cruise. We looked at Royal Cruises, we looked at Universal, and we looked at Disney World. The cruise was the cheapest.
Yeah.
So I don't think people realize that. The next was Disney World because they had a good promotion going on.
Mm-hmm.
And then Royal would have been next. And then Universal was pulling super high and expensive. And we changed dates. We tried different things. The only reason we went this date is it just worked out with the cruise. We were open going most anytime in February or March, even end of January. So if a cruise is on your list, like, it doesn't hurt to get a quote because it could be a lot more attainable than you might realize.
Yep. I actually just did some quotes for someone this week they're looking for a last minute trip over spring break, and they're a family of 4 and they have 2 kids that are like pretty active. And so my go-to are typically going to be Royal Caribbean and Disney, and Disney won out every time because they have a promotion going on right now that's guaranteed staterooms and on the Wish on one of the newer ships. And they were thousands of dollars less expensive for the same time frame, which I was shocked that that was the case. So
Get on, then you get your placeholder for a longer sailing or a full price sailing that you
yeah.
get a little bit of a promotion on. And Calder said he would rather cruise forever and never go back to the parks.
Oh,
So
wow.
best vacation he's ever been on. And I said, would you rather go on another cruise or go to the parks? And he said, I only want to cruise.
Wow.
Shrimp every day. But also he loved it.
That's a pretty big endorsement.
Yes. So, and he's 10. He's traveled a lot. He's a very well.
That's what I was going to say. He's been to Disneyland and Disney World multiple times. So he's kind of grown up in the parks. And for him to say that, that's why I was saying that's a pretty big endorsement for him to say that.
Yeah. So,
Wow. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening this week. I loved hearing all about the cruise. I'm so excited that they got to take Calder on this cruise and that they were able to experience the Disney Fantasy. That's my next ship that I would love to experience. If you guys, of course, as always, if you're interested, please feel free to reach out to us. We would love to help you. Our agency offers up to $1,000 onboard credit for any of our Disney Cruise Line cruisers, and we would love to help. We hope you have a wonderful week, and we will talk to you all next week. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Wanderlust and Wishes.
if you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform.
And remember, the world is full of wonders waiting to be explored. Until next time, happy travels.
Bye for now.